Hello everyone, welcome to this tutorial, our first um, online tutorial on the practical session of Anwatch Media study on graphic designing. Um, I am Phil Collins Chidi, a graphic designer at Anwatch Media. So today I will be showing you I will taking you through a round two on the Photoshop platform. Before I get into the Photoshop platform, I would like you to know some certain things about some basics about Photoshop. First of all, there are Photoshop. First of all, started with the CS package, which CS stands for Creative Suite, and the most popular one among them is the CS6, which has a portable version. And the good thing about this portable version is that it is very light, and you can use it even on a very small computer like the PBF. Okay. Secondly, I would like to talk about the CC, which stands for Creative Cloud. So it's an advancement of the CS, and it has some, let me say, some advantages more than the CS, which when you get to use it more, you understand them. And I would like to point out that all of them have basically the same thing, irrespective of the one you have. But I will always advise you start with the lower version like the CS, because that's what I started with. So without taking much of your time, let's just dive into the tutorial. I'd like to first of all start by saying that I use Photoshop CC 2020, as you can see here. So for you to do that, I always advise that when you install your Photoshop, you should always pin it to your taskbar like I've just done mine. Yeah, so that it's easier for you to just go into it. Now, without wasting much of your time, I would like us to open the Photoshop. Now, when you open your Photoshop for the first time, especially the 2020, it has the one I'm using has some, I'm sure, some technical fault with the programming of the software, because normally the screen is not supposed to be like this. You are supposed to see all what is showing here, but that's no big deal, and we can find our way. Now, when you open your Photoshop for the first time, you're going to see the menu bar already displayed there. So this is where you can easily navigate through. Now the file, just like in Microsoft Word and other Microsoft program, you know what it always contain the file. To create a new file, open something that's there. This one is like to browse in bridges is another software in the Adobe Creative Cloud that has been made as an accessory to Photoshop. So you open as this one is when you have a program you're already working on, so you want to reopen it. Now here gives you the recent program for, but when you recent program you'll be working with, if you have been working with these before, you realize that you're going to see a list of the programs which you've been working with. Like for example, these are the list of the last programs I've been working with. But for the first time, you're not going to see anything here. So as we go through, I'm going to show you about the rest. So let's just go to new. So when you take new, a screen will pop up depending on how fast your computer is. So for the CC, you're going to have more options than in CS. You don't need to cram any of these size. So whenever you want to look for a size that you don't know, you can just go online and you Google search it and you get it. Okay, for example, if I need like the size of should I say size of A4, I'll just go to Google and I say size, oops, size of A4 in centimeters. So normally in Cameroon we are more common with centimeters. So you scroll and you go down, you look for, I think this one should be the best. It's going to give you the size of all types of papers. So you go there, you're going to get it, but that is not what we are here for. That was just an aside. Okay, now I'll go to, since I need a new document, I need to create a size. Now with the 2020, like I said, it has some inbuilt errors, or program that was not really built on very well. You can see normally when I'm here, I'm supposed to see some options around here, but unfortunately I can't see them now for reasons which I think should be technical. So, but in order for you to do that, I realized that when you want to bring out what is here, you can click any of the size around. For example, if I click, you see it pops out. Whoa, that's nice. So here you're going to have where to put the dimensions of your document. And like I always tell you, the dimension of a document you're working with on Photoshop is width times height. So if I say 2 by 5 centimeters, you should understand that I'm saying that the width should be 2 centimeters while the height is 5 centimeters. Okay, so you should always have that stuck in your head. Now here you get the orientation of how you want the document to be, whether you want it to be portrait or landscape. And if you need more than one artboard, you can add it here, but for the artboard you should let go of that one first. Now I always want to be specific here when it comes to resolution. Now here in the resolution, if you are working with, please take note of this, if you are working with a document which either the width or the height is from 1 meter, oops, sorry, let me change from millimeters to centimeters, it's from 1 meter and above. 1 meter is equals to 100 centimeters. So if it's from 1 meter and above, whether either the height or the width, please, I'll always advise you to drop down your resolution, irrespective of the program you're working with, whether CS or CS6. Drop down your resolution to 72, or else it's going to catch your computer and it's going to catch your hard drive. I've been a victim of that, and I always tell anybody that start teaching Photoshop, I always tell them this. Now here you can change your unit of measurement. There's sometimes when you go and look for a size online and they'll give you maybe the size in pixels or in inches. You know, in an American, and the inches is more common, but for us here in Cameroon you have centimeters and millimeters. So depending on what you have, you can just change whatever you want. So I would like to go with centimeters. Okay, and I cannot continue without creating an actual size, so I would like to use the one which I'm always familiar with, the 1515, which 15 by 15 centimeters, which I usually use to create logos, design logos. So now without further ado, I'll just click on the create and it opens it. Wow, beautiful. I love this. So if you look at what we have here, you're going to see the layout of a Photoshop document. It's similar between CS and CC. Okay, so if you're using CC or you're using CS, don't feel like you're always going to be different. Everything here is similar, the format and the display of everything. And you can even still arrange your workspace, because everything here is called a workspace. You can arrange your workspace to look more in a better way that you want. Okay, so don't feel like you're down. Okay, let's proceed. Now like I said, we are going through the tool of what is here on the Photoshop document. Now, like I told you when I started, I say here is called the menu bar. It has the main menu of the program. If you click on left click on each and any of them, you're going to see various drop down commands in them, which we come to know them later on. But first of all, let me start. Okay, let me just give you a general of the names here. Here we have the menu bar. Here we have the property. I'll say the property for each tool. What do I mean by tool? If you look here, these are what we call the tools. The tools you'll be using in Photoshop. For example, you know, a mechanic has its tool, his or her tools which he uses in fixing a car. So maybe the 17 flat spanner, or maybe a screwdriver or whatsoever that he or she needs in order to make the car function very well. He has to have a toolbox. I can say this is the panel for the tool. So each of these two, with respect to the tool which you're using, you realize that these properties will always change. For example, I am now on this part selection tool. If I change from part selection tool to the move tool, you realize that this bar has changed. If I get from there to the marquee, it changes. It is dependent on the property you're using. It's a property of the tool you're using, and these properties are always specific to that particular tool. So Whenever you are there, it will always change. Then you have here now your Windows bar. The Windows bar tells you, or is a window which has the document which you're working with. You can have more than one window bar. So now on the window bar, you have the name of your document. This document has not been named, which I would always advise you. That should be one of the first things you do. The name of your document, the format of your design, RGB or CMYB, depending on which one you are working with. And I'm sure I've made mention on the difference between the CMYB and the RGB, or I'm sure I gave an assignment on that. But let's continue. If you have any question on any of them, you just send it in the suggestion box, and I'll reply them to you and try to do a tutorial on that if you have more difficulties. Okay, now let's continue. These are other panels. You call this one panels. These panels are used during when you are working with your document. And among all of these, I would just say that when you have your time, you can just go through them, but I would not want to take much of your time. I would like to show you the basics and the necessary ones, except the needs come, and I'm going to do a tutorial on all of this. So first of all, here is the layer panel, which is the main one of the main things you'll be working with. On the layer panel, you're going to have, this is the background layer, this is the main layer which you have. Then when you keep on, each thing that you add on your Photoshop workspace is going to create a new layer, and it's just like you are stacking up blocks on each other. If you put the first one, which, like for example here is the background, which we created the size, if we put it down, that's going to be the first thing you'll put, that will be on your Photoshop layer, and it's going to be from the bottom. Now if I take another block, which is another layer, and I put it on top of the first block, that is the first block, which is the background, you realize that it's going to be on top. So the next layer is going to be on top of the background layer, which you come to see. And just like if you're looking from above, the second layer is going to either block completely the first layer or some part of it, which you get to know the importance of that as we work on Photoshop. Now let's continue with the toolbar. I'm going to tell you the various toolbar and the various tools and their functions here, and I would like to pick out the main one, which I think are the basics which you should be using. And I'll start with the move tool. See, it's called the move tool, and the shortcut of it is V. You use it to move an object on your canvas from any side within the canvas. For example, if I have a shape like this, and when I'm on the move tool, I can carry the shape from one side to another on my canvas. This working space here, the area within which you are working in the workspace, we call it the canvas. So you can remove it anywhere, remove it to anywhere you want. Now the other one, the marquee tool, I would like to point out this. You have the marquee tool, the lasso tool, object selection, and I think, and the wang tool. Let me look for, okay, object selection is within the wang tool. So these three tools here are mainly used for selecting a particular side of an object or an entire object. And the use of selecting a particular side of this object is mainly to select, let's say for example you have an image, you want to crop the image out of its background, you can use this tool, to one of these tools, to do it. And I'm going to tell you how you're going to use them, but I'll always advise that you use the one which you're familiar with, and depending on what you're doing, which of them is best. Each and every one of them has its own function and has where it is good at. Okay, so for the first one, the marquee tool, if you look at most of these tools here, if you look on them, just below them, you're going to see a small drop down arrow here. So it means that it has many other functions within them. So for example, if I left click and hold, it's going to pop up other functions within them. Like for example, in the marquee, you have the rectangular marquee tool, which has a shortcut of M, elliptical marquee tool, shortcut of M2, and there's a way in which you can change between them using the shift and M. For example, if you are on rectangular marquee tool, you want to go to the next, you have to press the shift and the M before it can take you to the next one. Okay, you have the single row marquee tool and the single column marquee tool depending on what you want to use. Now you have the next one we go is the lasso tool with the shortcut L. So just like an example here, see, it is used to crop out, for example, it's used to crop out the flower from its background. So if I drop down the arrow, I'm going to see the lasso tool, I'm going to see the magnetic lasso tool. Okay, the lasso tool here, it has the way it works. For example, you can use it to select it. Can use the lasso tool to select from one place to another. Oops, I think my computer is slow. Well, you can use it to select from one place to another. Okay, you when you want to use it, you have to, when you click it the first time, left click it the first time, you hold it on to where you want to carry until when you're done, you have to join it back to the first side which you started with, so that it forms a circle and you can select it. But I will not always advise you to use this particular lasso tool. I think I'll prefer this magnetic lasso tool. Now the importance of this magnetic lasso tool is that it just like the word magnetic, right? It magnets to similar pixels. What do I mean by pixel? If you look at I'll come to that one. So now with the laser tool, it magnets similar colors. So if I click on it, I go on another side, you see how it's changing. It's depending on the similar colors in which it is seeing. But now we can't really get the difference because we are using a uniform color here, which is black. And when you're done, you have gone through all through, you see you're going to give you a small circle. You're going to change to a small circle down the tool, telling you that you have formed a circle already, which you can select them, and then you start doing your copy. Okay, the next one we have the wang tool. It is used to you have the quick selection, and this is a new option. The object selection is a new option within the CC 2020, which was not there in 2017. I'm sure I've not checked for 2018 and 2019 because I've not used them before. So with the quick selection tool, you can use it to select. This is the icon that pops up when you have it. You can use it to select an area. You see, it's just more like the magnetic, which picks out similar colors. Now you select it at once first, but now you select, let me say you select it manually, and you can increase the size of this your selection tool. If you look on its properties, you have the plus. So it means that if I click here, the selection size is going to increase. But if I take it to the minus up here, you realize that if I'm clicking on this place, it's going to reduce instead. So let's say for example you do a selection, it has gone beyond where you want to do it, so you have to change it on the properties to make sure you have exactly what you want. Okay, we will see examples on that. Now you can increase the size of this your tool. If you see here, we have the size of 30. So if you drop down the arrow, you can increase the size to whatsoever you like. See, it has increased. But I always advise you to use the shortcut so that you know exactly what you are doing. For example, if you're using the resizing from here, you have to from time to time go and increase, then check if the size is okay. But when you use the shortcut, which is, if you look on your keyboard, below your keyboard where you have the bracket, the open and the close braces, not bracket, actually just below the plus and the minus, the last two keys before the next goal below the plus and the minus key on your keyboard, which are just close to your enter key. So it's going to help you to either reduce or you increase the size. So when you're increasing it, you are seeing it immediately rather than going to increase before you come to see it. So that's the importance of those two keys. Those are the shortcuts there. Now go to the next one, the cropping tool. You use it to crop uniformly, the main cropping one, or you can change it from there to the perspective tool. This perspective tool is always used to crop, for example, a document. For example, let me say I want to take a photo of a picture that has already been snapped, the hard copy of a picture, and let's say my camera was not placed that horizontally to the picture. So I'll have to use this tool to make sure that I try to balance any mistake that is on the picture. So it's going to balance it, and when you're done, you click on this tick here, but if not, you just cancel it. So we could move on to the next. The frame tool is not of any importance for now. But if need come, I'll let you know, because this tool is not found in 2017 or CC and CS, so it's not of any importance for now. Then eyedropper tool is used to select colors, and it's really not important for us now, but if the need comes, like I said, I will make them make tutorials on them. The patching tool too is used to remove spot, just like you can see there. The next one is the brush tool. You can use it to create a very nice background using the brush. The next one is the clone stamp. The clone stamp you use to clone part of an image to another site. It means you are duplicating a particular site of an image on another one. It's very nice. Mostly this one you are working with pictures. The next one is the history brush. It's actually not of any importance for now, but we'll get to see them more. I hardly use these tools, that's why I don't want to I don't want to stress you people on it. The next we go is the eraser tool. Now, it's called eraser tool. Actually, it's not the magic eraser. Why? Because you have the eraser tool that will delete only a spot on which your document your tool is on. But if you come to the magic eraser tool, it's going to select similar colors to what you are working with. As you can see, I cannot use the tool now because of one reason, and I'll tell you the reason why in very soon. That's not the big problem now. The next tool here is the gradient tool, which you use to create colors, more than one color within a background. I'm going to show you an example where the gradient tool was used. For now, I'm just giving you a tool. When we start using the various tools, you're going to see how you can make use of them. We move on to the next tool, which is the blur tool. Is used to create an impression, I would say, to make let's say for example you have a picture, you want to create an impression of a blur background where you cannot actually see what you have on the background, but so that you create a focus mainly on the picture of the picture or the your main image of focus, let me put it that way. And this one is good for those who will be doing photography. They'll get to know it more often. Now we'll move to the next one, the dodge tool, which is actually, as you can see there, used to brighten up some sides of an image. We don't need it for now. Those with photography, we're going to go deep with you on that, but for now I don't think it's too important with those with graphic designing. The next one is the pen tool. Now, the pen tool here, you use it to create shapes on your own. Let's say, for example, you want to create a curve, or which is not a regular shape. So you can use the pen tool. Let's say, for example, I click on the pen tool and I want to create a shape. Okay, now when you see it's on the path, right? You can create a path or you create a shape. But I would like to create by a shape. Let's say, for example, I want to create a wavy shape. Yeah, you see, I use the pen tool to create it. Wow, it's going to make a very nice wave here. Okay, so that's it. It creates a very wavy and nice black background, which I love so much. Okay, so with time to time, you're going to see how important you can be using this. You can use it to create a lot of things. You can even use it to crop with when you're on the path, when you're on when you're using the pen tool on the path property. You can use it to do some specific cropping. Next one is the text tool, which is one of the main thing we'll be using. Now, if you take the drop down of the text tool, you're going to have the horizontal text, which is the main way in which we write. The vertical text, when you want to create text in a vertical alignment like this. Now, let me not say alignment, in a vertical display like this. The next one is a vertical type marks. It's like you're using Dutch text, but we'll come to see all of this. The next one is the path selection tool. Mainly, this tool mainly goes with when you're working with path. For example, you're trying to create trying to create writings in a circular path, which we did not see here. It's not here. I'll show you how to do that. You're trying to create writing in a circular path, and you're trying to adjust the way the writings are to balance. For example, you want to balance the writing, so you use this path selection tool to fix it. Then here we have the shapes. Now with the shapes, you have already default shapes like the rectangle shapes, round circles, ellipse tool, and the polygon, line, and custom shapes, which you come to see them very soon. As you can see, this shape here, I created it from here, the rectangular shape. So I created it. You can change the color. Here on the properties, you have the fill. You can change the color from the fill. These are already specific colors that have been given, so you can change it from the fill. But if you don't want to use that, you can come here, this small box here, you double click it, and you have a specific color which you want to work on. The good thing about it is when you're trying to change the color, you can see you see a preview of how it's going to look like until match what you're looking for. Okay, yes. Then the next one here is the handhold tool. Mainly it has more options like the move tool. Yes, but you won't be using that one often. Here is a zoom in. For example, this is a zoom tool you can use to zoom in. When it's on plus, you zoom out, sorry, you zoom out so that you see you appreciate something very well, like when you're trying to align some things. And if you go back to the properties up here, you realize that you can change it from plus to minus here. Okay, the shortcut to zoom in and zoom out. If you don't want to be going here and change it, especially when you're working, you get used to with the shortcut. You press and hold the alt key. For example, if I'm on minus and I want to change it immediately to plus, I'll have to hold down the shift key and I left click. It zooms in, it zooms out. And if I want to bring it back to minus, I'll have to let go of the alt key and I just left click on it to the size which I want. Okay, that's how we do it. Now you see these three dots is telling you there are many more other functions down here, but there's also some arrows here. This one is trying to if you click on it, it's going to expand the tools. So you see these are the tools which you've worked with. It's like it's coming. The first time we had it on one straight column, but now we have two columns which goes from left to right, and it's going to here where we are. Now here it's going to tell you the various tools. If you click on it, it's trying to edit your toolbar. There's some other subsequent sub tools within each of these tools that if you want to get them, you can open and you make them visible, which if you look at them very well. For example, now on the move tool, the artboard is there. Yes, you can edit any one that you want. Sometimes you can hide any of them that you want depending on how you want it. But let me see if I can have any of them that we did not go through. Okay, if you look at this pen tool, okay, was not there. All right, let me try to see if I can. Okay, there's no one, but you can hide any of the tools which you want if you know you'll not be using it, depending on how you want it to be. Okay, so that's it for that one. Here is the foreground color and the background color for each layer. For example, if I go back to my background, it's going to get exactly the foreground color and the background color. So please delete that side. So for now, this is a tool on the various tools on Photoshop. If you have any questions, please send it and leave it on the suggestion box. I'll try to correct it for you. On our next tutorial, we are going to have a practical tutorial on how to create or how to redesign. From an example, try to redesign something which you have like a flyer, Oh yes, I'll look for a very good flyer that make use of most of these tools and try to see how we can do it. Okay, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Bye bye.